Friday, June 6th, but this happened yesterday, Thursday, June 5th, right? The day of change, etc. Number 5. That's just a numerological number. But with the hand of change, 5 got crap. She-Mac. But anyways, with that being said, is the hands of change. Hands on, hands off, to the cross, me incarnate, and everybody, etc. I gave some people an experience of hearing the real Jesus Christ. On the third or second day, I lit a candle. After I lit a candle at the St. Patrick's Church, Independence, Oregon. So they heard the real live Jesus through me. But if they could hear it through me, that makes me a resurrected Christ as well. So, because the only one who could reach the Father through Christ, and I go through Christ and they go through me, and Christ lives in me, and I resurrected and died from an overdose a couple different times while being a prophet. So it's a resurrected prophet like Lazarus. And I think I was always born in Christ. I just had to walk the path to relearn reality in a generation from a baby to investigate my whole life. But anyways, I signed everything undercover, right? As an undercover operative. So even when I don't put like something under it, like under duress or this is for that, which you can put, it's a legal thing. It's still undercover, so it cancels out the contract null and void from the beginning. It's basically like you're investigating, so it's not gonna hold if they try to sue you, right? So that being said, is that I went to I wasn't gonna say Boys and Girls Club. I went to Ymca Salem, Or. They violated my constitutional rights, which I don't even have to abide by Constitution, but they do, right? Anyways, so I went under there, and I've been going with my mom's pass. You know what I mean? Investigating the area, stuff. I knew, but I just mainly just enjoyed it. You know what I mean? Working out, stuff, talking to people, talking to women, and getting to meet some decent people, men working out, trying to build themselves up, being a nice person. Seeing people that I normally wouldn't like and giving them advice on the workout, and then we look at each other, you know what I mean, and we're just like opposites kind of, and then he's like looking at me, you know what I mean, and I'm just thinking like, why the fuck do I'm thinking like that, you know what I mean, kind of like that vibe. And I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna help him, hey, you know what I mean, this is will help you work out, get bigger, So I'm just in here, going to take a shower after the workouts, and then going to the hot tub and the sauna, all that good stuff, right? And just enjoying my workouts. My mom letting me in, and they start hating on me or noticing me from people hating on me, making a semi-biased environment. Some of the workers like me, right? They're cool as fuck. But anyways, so they started being a little biased on me. I tried to go sign up. They're over here saying I need a valid address and for things, and it's their policy. They give me the stickler to the book shit, and that's okay because someone probably warned them though, right? Someone probably warned them I was investigating. Which, if you warn anybody of anything under a private investigation, then you're interceding in that investigation. You get in trouble for the same thing. So you never want to go out of your way to compromise an operative, right? But anyways, they treated me like shit, basically. And the older lady with the gray hair, she kind of like was being bitchy. And then the other one was being bitchy before that when I went in the morning, because I went twice, because they told me to go get a paper from for my income so I could go get a prorated rate, right? And so I did that, and then they gave me the runaround again. And this is what happens when you're organized stalked, right? They just organize stalk you, and they call in and do all this shit. It's organized stalking, so that's all it is. And it used to happen to my mom all the time. And you guys know when you guys get the runaround, you calling out, and they like call here, call here, call here. Okay, then they send you right back to the first person you called. You know what I mean? That's just an organized stalking tactic. It's well known. You know what I mean? It's a run around wasting your time, basically. And you're wasting your own time doing the run around because you're wasting your life. You could have put that shit in, fucking go holler at a girl, go get a job, go fucking do something productive, go get something to eat, go just be in the present moment, enjoy a nature walk. But anyways, organized stalkers just all behind a computer like a sucker, you know what I'm saying? But we could have put that time into something else better. You know what I mean? So, and I'm over here trying to put my time in and working out. And I literally said, I just want to work out. You know what I mean? See, that's it. You know, but they were acting it. The dude with the curly hair, real respectful. He just followed his boss's orders and kind of just kept to it, right? But they didn't let me sign up for my own pass. I was a paying customer. They wanted to give me the runaround, and they wanted to go against the Constitution and uphold their policy. So I don't have an address on it. They're saying that no one without a permanent address or a mailing address can enter. So I went to go put my address on the form because on the form it said homeless or houseless. And so I went to go put my address on the form, and then I came back and did it again, and they gave me the runaround. They kept making more reasons. Every time I went, they made a new reason or stuck to this little other reason and add a little extra stipulation. And they could have just explained it all at once. So they're semi holding up the things, but they're also semi being incompetent in the way they should have fully explained it, especially if you have a front desk worker and a supervisor there, right? You should fully explain it, and they keep giving me a runaround. So as investigating, they violated the constitutional right. I informed them that I own my social security card through contractual law. That's how I did it, a little loophole, and I took it over right through federal institutions, federally granted. And so when I did that, I own myself. I'm basically my own government. I can't get arrested, etc. You know what I mean? But I'm already born that way. These are just stipulations of the modern day society. They need a paper trail. They need fucking evidence. Bro, I'm a prophet. That's all I need to say. I'm born a prophet. I'm established 1990. It's a blood pact on me, dog. You know what I mean? I established way before that, but I'm established in this vessel 1990. You know what I mean? So I was born free. All nations are under God. That means anyone with a prophecy or Christ is above all nations. That's just common sense. You guys, I pledge allegiance to the flag. And all nations under God, right? You guys all pledge allegiance to me, dog. All nations under God means the prophets and the Christ, the angels, are above all nations. It's just common sense. You know what I mean? I was born free, but my mom was ill-informed. My mom's still born free too. Her name's Little Angel in Spanish, Angelita. Angel, I-T-A in Spanish, is Little Angel. Her last name, my mom's maiden name is Amaya. Add an I in front of that shit, it says I am a Yah. So our last name literally says, I am a Yahweh, Yahuwah, Yahweh, Jehovah, Elohim, Yod He Vade, Adonai, Shaddai, Jireh. It literally says we are a God. Then my other last name is Delos Reyes, my grandma's maiden name. So I am a God of the kings. That's literally when my grandpa Domingo Amaya and my grandma Lydia Amaya, or Lydia Amaya Delos Reyes, came together. Grandpa Domingo Amaya, Grandma Lydia de los Reyes. It says, I am a Yah of the kings. And I'm the firstborn of the firstborn. And my dad's the firstborn. You know what I mean? So, I am the kings of Yah. And that's just syllables and dissecting our last name. So it literally says, am a Yah of the kings. So there's no denying anything about me. On the back of your Federal Reserve note, which is your U.S. currency, it says, in God we trust. It doesn't say, doubt the prophet. It doesn't say, doubt the anointed. It doesn't say, doubt the church. It says, in God we trust. When you trust something, you never deny it. You know what I mean? And that's a Federal Reserve note by your Federal Treasury under federal contractual law, your federal government signs it because they own you as a Social Security construct, a tin man. And on the back of your Social Security card, it says, please return to the government if requested, or something to that effect. Meaning that they own your name. So when that happens, it's when that happens, and we take over our Social Security card, the Tin Man, I don't have to pay IRS. I don't even have to answer to IRS. I don't even have to put a form in, an exempt form or anything. I'm just automatically exempt, or supposed to be. I can do it to inform the people. But that being said, is that my last name is Ymca of the Kings, Delos Reyes. So I'm a king god by last names. All prophets, all real prophets are from the line of Yah. But God will use other people. They're from the original line of Adam and Eve. But like I said, they violated constitutional right, upholding their policy. And they were just acting disrespectful too towards the end, the gray-haired lady. Or fuck a supervisor, or they shouldn't say, our supervisor warned you, da-da-da-da, trying to uphold their stature for whatever reason. I didn't do nothing against them. All I did is go in, work out. I may have went in there. My mom didn't go in, you know what I mean? But I'm allowed to under investigation, undercover investigations, right? So I just see how they operate. And they're upholding policy, and that's how they operate for the normal man, and that's cool. But they're not operating under prophecy, and I informed them that I was like a sovereign being. So everything I say is a descriptive nature. It's not to be held by your dictionary or anything there, because I'm the living word, and the living word through me lives. So it upgrades, it changes. You add slang to it. You dissect it. You see the root words and the prefixes. So the living word lives through me. So you can't hold me on a dictionary basis or an urban basis. I can interchange it at any means necessary, any means I need to. I can even change the full construct of the word if I deem fit through the glory of God. Because I'm the living word. And everybody's preaching doctrine, which is still living only because we're living through him. But it's still dead because new generations need new interpretations. But so that's going that. Starting to get harassed. I'm getting stalked again too. But by random people and shit. But it's only minimal at best. But yeah. Once the RICO charge hits from the I3 and their organized crime, then your friends, your family, your associations, your co-workers all get pulled into a court case. This is just the beginning. You know what I'm saying, hun? But if you work at a certain place, all your co-workers get pulled in. If you associate with your friends and family, they get pulled in. Any money associations get double checked, double whapped, da-da-da-da. And this is just a warning because it's coming. I'm about to go put in courthouse things and affidavits and sworn statements and to debunk your falsified evidence and false witnesses. So when you're a false witness, that's what we go through. Prophets in Christ always go through mockery and false witness. They call Christ a demon for casting out Baal. They're like, you're king of demons. That's false witnessing. So it's been time and time again predicted that you guys would do the same exact thing. 3,000-4,000 years ago, God told us. And then you guys do it anyways, like a dumbass. Anyone who formulates anything against me defaults on the Federal Reserve note, U.S. currency, money. Means that anything you bought with money, Fernando Xavier Martinez and any name I use, or also known as, own everything you bought with U.S. currency. It's a default on a contract, a Federal Reserve note contract. So if you call the police on me, under my documentation I own my name. So that means every time you use my name, you owe me everything, any price I want. Every time you speak on me, online, offline, each time I could charge you any amount. I own my name, not the government. The government doesn't own my name. When the government owns my name, you have freedom of speech. When I own my name, I get to say what the fuck you say about me. So I got everyone in the world to mock me and became the generationally blessed to be able to sue everybody on a different level. So when you default on a U.S. currency Federal Reserve note, that means you can't use U.S. currency anymore unless I deem fit. That is law. It's just law you don't know. So anything you bought or paid for with U.S. currency, I own. And if you want to take it to court, I'll win. I own your houses, your cars, your fucking facilities. This is why faith is important. This is the test of the spirits, test of the mind, and test of the bodies. Faith. If you don't have it, and you went to church your whole life, you're even more pathetic. Because faith in me, the deceiver comes in angel of light. So how would the real one come? Deceiver looks like a Mormon in a fucking suit. The deceiver looks like a Christian pastor. You know what I mean? Because the deceiver comes in the angel of light. God bless, guys. Stay in school. But so how would the opposite of the angel of light come in? Probably come in an angel of darkness or a dark demon like, but be truthful. That's just the opposite spectrum of duality. That's just simple context interpretation. Simple. So when they judge me, they judge the God in me by their depiction of the ego and the pride and ego that Lucifer had in him. Because that's Lucifer. It literally says, don't be prideful. Pride comes with ego and judgment. So when you're self-righteous, oh, he's not of God. You're literally lying to yourself and not knowing the Bible. It was even worse if you read it your whole life. My grandpa and grandma made it to heaven. I have the names of the dead on me when I was gang member associated and criminal associated, right? And in the Old Testament, the Torah, it says you cannot have the names of the dead. He became like a memorial, right? Shout out to Memorial Day and all the people who followed to set us free. I'm just upholding my freedoms and my rights. Just because you don't recognize them doesn't make them any different. But that being said, I'm a forgiven one. They're servants of the Lord. They're not technically forgiven. So they have to pray for forgiveness all the time. Prophets of the Lord, sometimes you be forgiven. Christ of the Lord, obviously forgiven. I'm a Christ, not the Jesus Christ. I am Jesus Christ we all have him in our hearts. But I got to show people in the spirit Jesus Christ's personal voice and personally after lighting a 3-day candle at the St. Patrick's Church. So they heard it and it was a blessing. And they still deny the blessing because they want to attack me or they want to talk shit or whatever the case may be. They lack faith. But I channel Jesus Christ. And I could channel Father God by voice anytime I need fit. The only line, like Moses, is the bloodline of David, of all the kings of David, to reach God. That's just common sense. God only trusts his bloodline because we have his essence in him. Our good hearts, our good nature, our mind, militant like a King David, being able to kill like King David, and being able to be protected like King David. 1,000 fall at your side. I didn't have to touch those. 100,000 by my right hand. I'm allowed to kill. Doesn't mean I'm out here killing, but I'm allowed to do it to protect my family. But like I said, this is for the YMCA. I have another couple of videos dropping too. Plus being stalked too. Stuff of that nature. And even some people are stalking for the right reasons, because they feel it on their heart. They need to exonerate them because they were part of the enacts or the acts against me. So that's fine. And that's totally fine. You know what I mean? I'm not saying I give them permission, but sometimes you have to do things outside your moral judgment. Even if you get in trouble, you're doing the right thing. You know what I mean? Just like if I kill somebody, I'm going to have a righteous judgment upon me, and I'm going to be exonerated of it. But that's because I use my discretion, because they try to kill me first, or they try to attack me first as a pacifist. So I use my discretion. But before that nature I would always try to detain as a civil arrest, or some to that nature, or warn them by yelling or threats, because even if threatening them is a warning, because I could have just ran up and be like, "Bow, you're dead, dog." You know what I mean? Is a warning better than just pulling up and handling business like I used to? Because I'm used to shootings. I'm used to stabbings. That's just normal to me, dog. So is a warning not wanted, since you call the police when I warn you and I call you out? So in sovereign law, which I don't have to uphold, you could call somebody out in mutual combat and you can't get arrested. So when I call somebody out and you call the police, you're violating constitutional rights, sovereign nations, and stuff of that nature, which brings in federal and international problems to your front door. So you guys show me by the intercession of action, while I intercede in prayer and walk the lands as a prophet. I'm not doing witchcraft. I'm not even doing anything bad. I'm just upholding my Kingdom David right. That means you guys are violating the Bible.